Hey everyone, it's Jill, here live in the Peace of Mind group and probably YouTube at some point. Here to answer some questions that have been posted in the group. I didn't know what to talk about today, so I asked if anyone had any questions, and I got a bunch. I think the answer is going to be the same for all of them, but let's see what happens. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Deborah. Let's see what we have here. So we have Helen asked. She asked a bunch of stuff, and she said a bunch of stuff that I didn't feel was a question. She said something about obsessive thoughts and getting caught up in them, finding it hard not to. Still, I found no question there. Hi, Sharon. Then she said, I have obsessive thoughts about... All right, we don't need the content of it. So, in the end, the question was, how do I move on? So, I'm guessing, how do I move on from obsessive thoughts is the question. And the answer is... we don't have any how-tos. If anyone who's been listening to the videos, you'll notice I don't tell people how to do anything. So all of anyone's questions that ask how to, I don't know. It's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm not telling anyone how to do anything because I don't know. That's not what we're here for. Here's what I'm trying to get across to people. And this is the crux of everything, and I think I talked about it in yesterday's video. Whatever we're feeling in life, it's coming from our thought in the moment. So that's it. That's all I'm trying to get across. That's it. That's 100% the way the world works. Always, 100% of the time it works that way, but we don't always see it. So we're either living in the true state of the world, knowing when we see that our thoughts are being created, our feelings are being created from our thoughts, our experience is being created from our thoughts. When we see that, we're living in the true world. We're connected to our true self. When it looks like anything else is happening, when it looks like people and situations are creating the way we feel, then we're not living in the true world. We're not seeing the world as it is. We're seeing it as outside in. So we have obsessive thoughts. We have happy thoughts. We have sad thoughts. We have anxious thoughts. We have a whole range of thoughts that come through us based on our programming, our conditioning, what's happened to us since we were little, things people did to us, thoughts. The energy of thought is neutral. It has nothing to do with who did what to whom. It's just neutral, but it goes through our filters, which I've talked about actually with a couple of calls today of people I had calls with. This is how I see it. We have what I pictured as like a colander on our heads, or a strainer, something that's got holes in it. So the energy of thought comes in, it goes through our own individual filter, colander, strainer, and everybody has their own mix of everything that's ever happened to them, and the thought. So the thought energy has to pass through that and into our brain, and it creates whatever thoughts happen to come to us. And they're different for everyone, but they're actually quite often the same for everyone. We all have the same obsessive thoughts all the time. The help comes in knowing that that's what's creating the way we feel, and that there's nothing to worry about because of them. We have obsessive thoughts. Okay, I'm having obsessive thoughts. So what? Like, that's the answer. So I have no how-to answers. And yes, I understand that it's hard to live with. But as soon as you see that the way you're feeling is coming from those thoughts, and that those thoughts are nothing but energy that's going through your filters, then at some point you won't mind anymore. You won't mind that those thoughts come, because you'll just see that that's just the way life works. We have obsessive thoughts, we have happy thoughts, we have sad thoughts. So that's all I can really say about that. I see a bunch of other people on here. I've got Erin, Samantha, Diane, Maria, Rosemary, Shelley. Hi, everyone. What else? Krista asked how or what or where or how does thought come from, which I just answered, and I actually talked to her earlier, and we talked about that. We had a great conversation. If anyone's looking for somebody else to speak with about this stuff, Krista actually would be a great person to speak with, because she's seen a lot of things with her own anxiety. Rachel, using the inside out theory in the moment when you need to do something that has always made you anxious. So this is not a question either. So I guess the inside out is not a theory. It's the truth, see, and as long as we think it's just a theory, then it's not going to have the same power that it has when we know 100% that this is how the world works. The world is inside out, meaning that only thoughts are what create our experience all the time, 100% of the time, and I'm going to just keep on saying that, is the way it works. So first you have to believe that by finding evidence of it for yourself, so that you know this is not a theory, that this is really how things work. And you can see it in watching movies. You can watch how people get caught up in their thoughts in a movie. When in the script of the story, it's just like real life. Like, you can watch it with your friends. You can watch them getting caught up in their feelings. It's a lot easier to see in other people. It's harder sometimes to see in ourselves. But if we see it in any situation, we have to prove it to ourselves that that's how life works, and then we know it's true. So the rest of that question, when you need to do something that has always made you anxious, well, the something didn't make you anxious. See, that's the difference between when you're seeing the world as outside in or inside out. If you think that something out there in the world made you anxious, then you're seeing the world outside in, and you're not connected to how things really are. They're always inside out, but oftentimes it looks outside into us, so we think things can make us anxious. So if you're thinking something makes you anxious, ask yourself, where do you think your feelings are coming from? And if it's that thing, then you must not be seeing clearly in the moment. And that's fine. I think things outside of me are causing me to feel certain ways all the time. I think people in my lives, it feels to me like people in my life are making me feel a certain way, or a situation that I label as bad is making me feel a certain way. It looks that way to me all the time, 90% of the time. But I still know it can't be that way. It can't be coming from them. It has to be coming from my thought in the moment, that's all. And knowing that means that at any moment, my thoughts can change, because that's what thoughts do. So at any moment, new thought can come in, and suddenly I may see the situation for what it is, that it was my thoughts creating my experience in that moment. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. So let's see. Angie said, if there's a situation that is happening, good or bad, and we have no control over our thoughts that come in, that's all true, why are they always about that situation? I know that sounds odd, but I hope you understand what I mean. I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean, but I think we're not saying with this conversation that situations don't trigger certain thoughts. I mean, situations can certainly trigger certain thoughts. If something, what we think of as bad, is happening to our kids, it's human to, you know, have anxious thoughts about that. So that's all. Or, you know, or it's human to have happy thoughts when things that we label as good are happening around us. So we have good thoughts. So that's all. That's just life. Like, you know, what's happening around us does create certain thoughts. Just like it's just part of our programming. So I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is whatever we're experiencing in the moment comes from thought in the moment. That's all. So I don't know if that really answered the question, but Linda, why is my health always on my mind? Because that's what thoughts happen to be coming into your head. And those are the ones that you happen to be settling on and giving meaning to, as opposed to the millions of other thoughts that are coming into your head that you're not noticing or putting any weight on or giving meaning to. They just happen to be. It's just habit. It's just a habit that you've gotten used to doing. It's no big deal. The health thoughts can come into your head. They're just thoughts. It's that's the way the system works. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Thoughts come into your head about health thoughts, and so that's what you're thinking of, and that's what you are feeling at the time. Again, there's not much more of a question to that. That's not a question. I won't read it. That's not a question. Diane said, how to talk to myself when having the overwhelming thoughts I can't cope to prevent feeling any worse. How to talk to myself when having the overwhelming thoughts I can't cope to prevent feeling any worse. You can talk to yourself any way you want to talk to yourself. I have never said that we should be talking to ourselves to prevent anything, because that's just more thought. When we talk to ourselves, that's just another voice in our head that we're adding on to the already existing, who knows how many voices in our head. So there's no how to talk to yourself. If it occurs to you in the moment to say something to yourself that helps you to feel better, then that's awesome. But that may or may not happen to you. There's no how to do whatever. As I said at the beginning, that's not what this is about. We're just talking about understanding where our feelings are coming from, where our experience of life is coming from. Inside out, not outside in. And that's it. It's just the way things work. So you don't have to talk to yourself. Which Lisa actually said as well, and she answered that question for Diane, and I agree. She said, you don't need to talk to yourself. You're not in control, and knowing you are okay underneath all that crappy thinking. Yeah, I mean, that's it. The thinking's not us. Tanya, not taking our thoughts as truth. Some examples, please. E.g., how not to. So again, we're in a how to, and I'm really sorry, guys. I know this probably sounds horrible because I'm just not really answering these questions, but I think I should say here that this is the fundamental misunderstanding with this understanding is people are assuming there's how-tos to this, that there's strategies, that there's prescriptions, that there's something to do, and I swear to God, there's nothing to do. Nothing to do, nothing at all to do ever about any of this. And as soon as you realize that there's nothing to do, there'll be a whole lot less on your mind because you won't be trying to figure out what it is you should do. So not taking our thoughts as truth. Some examples, please. I don't know. I mean, you just don't take them as truth. The more you start to see, the more you see who your true self is, that the peace inside is who it is. I mean, that the voice in our head says all kinds of crazy things, so I don't know why we would believe it, like just because it says we're bad or we're better than everyone or we're worse than everyone. Like, I mean, why would we believe it? So I don't know. I don't know about examples because, yeah, I can't answer that anymore. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm failing at this question answering today. I've had a lot of calls today talking about this stuff all day, so I'm probably already tired of it. What else do we have? Why, after having a panic attack, do you have that floaty feeling, if that's what it is after? It's been 4 months since having my last attack, and I constantly have the floaty feeling. Also, how do you stop being scared of having panic attacks and get on with your everyday life? I don't know how to do that because that's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Honestly, I'm sorry, I can't actually answer this other question either because I don't know about the floaty feeling. So maybe somebody else can help you. I think there's some answers there that other people who can relate to that might be able to tell you. But I can tell you that the reason you're having whatever feeling you're having is because of thought in the moment, because that's what causes all our feelings. So you're having some sorts of thoughts going on in your head that are creating that feeling, because that's the only way we feel anything and everything 100% of the time. Gemma said something that's not a question. Where's the question? Ah, I see the question. How do you put those jobs or necessities out of your mind in order to enable you to enjoy your time? Oh, okay. So she was talking about she can't relax until she does certain things, other chores that she's supposed to do that are on her mind. Again, I can't give you a how-to. I don't know. That's not what I am here to help with. But it sounds to me like maybe you're believing or thinking that your peace of mind comes from having nothing on your to-do list. Does that sound like maybe it's a truth for you? That in your mind, having nothing on your to-do list is going to give you peace of mind. And that's not where peace of mind comes from. See? So if you believe that your peace of mind comes from finishing up your to-do list, then you're going to have to finish up your to-do list to have peace of mind. And that's fine. That's fine. Some people think it's the chocolate cake that gives them their peace of mind, and so they have their chocolate cake and then they have peace of mind. And if your to-do list, if you believe that, then that's what's going to be for you. And that's okay, like I said. At some point, you may get an insight that peace of mind is within you. That when you've done those chores and you feel that peace of mind, that feeling you're feeling has been there all along underneath all the thoughts that I have to do this, I have to do this. If you see that someday, then you may find that it doesn't matter whether you do your chores or you don't do your chores, that you can conjure up that peaceful feeling anytime because it's there within you always. It's who you are. So, but it doesn't matter if you do those chores and you feel better in the doing of them, so do them. So what? Like, that's fine. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever you want. It's all good. Hi, Paul. Hi, Christine. I hope that helps Gemma a little bit. Michelle. Let's see, is there a question there? Thought I was getting it, still am a little. I know you're definitely getting it, Michelle. So don't try and fool me, because I know I talked to you the other day. I guess I have had too much therapy. Can someone explain to me how they do it? How do you not do anything and redirect? You don't. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to redirect. You don't have to not do anything. Like, you're... I'm sorry, but it's funny what we do as humans. So we're now turning not doing into a doing. Do you see what you're doing there, Michelle? You're making not doing. How do I not do? That becomes your new doing. But it doesn't matter. Like, do whatever you want. You can do stuff. Like, you don't need my permission. You don't need your own permission. Just if you want to do stuff that makes you feel better, as I just said in the answer to the last question, then do stuff. It's all good. Like, it's all good. It's what's happening. You don't have to be stopping yourself from doing stuff because the 3 principles say you don't need to do anything. It's fine, and you are getting it too, and all of you are getting it. You wouldn't still be asking questions and being in the conversation here. So Michelle also said, it's been a struggle for me not to let my thoughts scare the crap out of me. Let them scare the crap out of you if that's what they're doing. I mean, you don't have a choice in the matter. The thoughts are going to be what the thoughts are going to be, and you're going to react how you're going to react. That's all what's happening. It's okay. It's all okay. It's all okay. That's the way our system works. It's bringing everything to life for you, like the special effects department. That's what it's supposed to do. So whatever those thoughts are, if they're scary thoughts, they're going to scare the crap out of you, because that's what scary thoughts do. That's the way the system works. It's more when you don't realize that it's coming from thought, that it's that's where you're not going to feel right about it. When you know it's really coming from thoughts, and you're inside out, then you're aligned with your true self, and you'll find that suddenly you're not scared anymore. It's because you really don't know that they're coming from thought that you're scared. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it's working. Rosemary says, why do we feel like we're on the outside looking in some days? I don't even feel like I'm here, or some days I'm the only one here. Or why do we get so emotional? Because I feel I can't live my life. It feels like I'm trapped and never going to be free. Well, the only answer to that is the obvious one. However you feel, whether it's trapped or emotional or whatever other words you used, it's because you happen to be having those thoughts. You're having thoughts about being trapped. You're having thoughts about emotions. You're having thoughts about whatever. And that's what's creating your experience of life. That's all. That's it. But you're probably believing that that those feelings are coming from elsewhere. See, this is what the theme I'm seeing now with all these questions, most of these questions. It seems that most of you, me too, have an idea. You think it's a good idea to believe that my thoughts are creating my experience of life. So you know that's a good idea. And so you're trying really hard to buy into it and believe it. But you obviously aren't believing it, which is the same with me a lot of the times. But you're not, you're in this inside out world, but you're experiencing it as outside in, which it's not. And so again, I have to say that the key to all this stuff is to do whatever it takes to find evidence that 100% of the time what you're thinking, what you're feeling is coming from thoughts. Don't just believe it because I'm telling you that. Don't just believe it because it sounds like a good idea. Because that's why you're being dragged along by these thoughts, creating these feelings, and you're trying to change the thoughts, which you can't do, instead of seeing for real how your experience is created. So keep on seeking that evidence. Seek evidence in your life how it's true. Like, there's so many things every day that create our experience. Like, for instance, when I got out of yoga today, a few hours ago, I saw a text from my daughter, but I just saw like a few words of it. And I figured I'd read it when I got home. So the whole drive home, I'm experiencing what I think she said in her text, right? Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But meanwhile, I had this whole thing going on in my head about what I would say back and blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't, I didn't even know what she actually said. So I created what she said in my head. And then when I came home, I actually read the text. As it turns out, it was similar, but it wasn't exactly what I thought. But we do this all the time. We make stuff up in our heads, and then we think that I think it's her text that's causing me to feel a certain way, when it was my own thoughts about her text, my own thoughts that were going through my head. Look for these things in your life. This is I don't, maybe it's not the only way, but this for me is what helped me, is to prove to myself that that's where my feelings come from, that that's where my experience of life comes from. And if I'm not seeing it in the moment, if I'm feeling anxious still, if I'm feeling anxious or any other feeling, then I'm seeing the world outside in, which is wrong, which is not the world. The world is inside out. It only works one way. And if I'm feeling anything and not seeing what is it that's creating my feelings, and not knowing that it's thought, then I'm outside in an inside out world. What else do we got here? Hi Sharon. Hi Wendy. My buddy. Jill. Andrew. Hi. Where was I here? I said Rosemary's Anna. Could we talk about the concept of annoyed thinking, please? How can I stop being annoyed? The only way to stop being annoyed is if your thoughts weren't annoying, if you didn't have annoying thoughts anymore. But since we can't change the thoughts that we have in our heads, if you have annoyed thoughts, then you're going to feel annoyed. So what? Like, why is it a problem to feel annoyed? The thing is, here's where the help comes. As soon as you actually see that it was thought, that you were living in an outside in world, in an actual inside out world, as soon as you see that it was thought for real, it will dissolve. But it's when you think it's just a good idea that thoughts create our experience in the moment, we don't see it. We don't see through it. And so we're just dragged along by whatever feelings are being created, because we think it's the husband or the wife or the daughter or the son or the cousin or the boss or the situation. Because even though we're telling ourselves it's thought, we're not seeing it in that moment if we're still feeling it. As soon as we realize where our experience is being created, where's that annoyance really coming from, as soon as we see it and it's not just a good idea anymore, poof, it goes away. That's the cool part. Henrietta, why can I not control destructive thoughts? Because we can't control any thoughts. Andrew, are dreams just a mishmash of reoccurring thoughts and images we experience during the daytime? I don't know. I think dreams are just, they're thoughts. It's us experiencing thought in the dream state. That's all I do know that dreams are. I don't know if there's more deeper meaning to them or not, but it's a thought created reality. It's a different one. It's got different physics to it and different laws of the way it works, but it's the one law, the one constant law of all of this, dreams or awake, what we call awake, is that it's our thoughts that create our experience of it. So our dreams are just created from thought, just like our this reality is. It's actually just like, it's actually very much the same. We create this reality just like we create our dream reality. We don't have a choice in how it's created usually. I guess some people can control their dreams if they become lucid. But I was surprised once. I had a like a lucid dream where I realized I was dreaming, and I was shocked while I was in it how real it appeared, how solid it appeared, how vivid the colors were, just as much, if not more, than what this reality looks like while I was in it. When I think about it now, the dream, like, it's back to being fuzzy, but so are memories. So that was a real interesting thing to me, to see that if my dreams are that realistic and solid and colorful and vivid, and this, what we call reality, is so solid seeming and visible, and vibrant and really solid, right? We're banging on things. It seems solid, but so did my dream. Then it makes me wonder about this world too, like, I don't know. I have a blog post about that too, like I have pretty much about everything. Hello, Henrietta and Linda. What else do we have here? Diane said, isn't it weird how I can look through these comments and almost answer them for Jill? Yeah, because I always say the same thing. I know what she's going to say. However, when stuck in my own thinking, it's hard to see that I am stuck. Yeah, isn't that really interesting? That's something that's actually really cool that you notice that. Because somehow when it's us and our thinking, it like seems like such a big deal, and something needs to be done, and yet our friend can tell us the same situation and it doesn't have the same power over us. It's because we're so egocentric in our heads, that it just becomes so much more real to us, because I don't know why, but it just does. But it's interesting that you notice that, because I'm gonna answer the same answers to everybody pretty much. So that's something to think about for yourself, Diane, and all of you, that you know the answers. You already know the answers that I'm gonna say, because you know this stuff. It's just keep looking for evidence. Just remember, if you're feeling rotten, it's because you're not aligned with your true self. Right? Your true self is peace of mind, and it's okay not to be aligned with your true self. It's okay to be feeling like you're living in an outside-in world, because we do it all the time. And that's okay too. But it's not like the true reality. The true reality is when we're aligned and feeling peace of mind, because that's who we are underneath all that thinking. Hello, Helen. So it looks like I've come to the end of these questions. I don't know how long I've been speaking. This doesn't tell me. I wish it did. I think I will finish up here. I don't think people have asked questions here, which is good. So I will finish it up here now, and I hope some of this made sense. I kind of feel horrible because I feel like it wasn't very good, that I was just saying the same thing. But I hope it's been helpful. If let me know if it's helpful or not. That's fine too. And I will talk to you tomorrow. If I can think of something new to say tomorrow. Bye-bye.